Hey guys, so I just went through all of my cues and I picked out the five that have, I guess what are called compression joints. I thought there might be a couple more in there. Now these are the ones that have the compression joints. And the main reason I'm doing this is, I want to talk about it. And I just made an equipment change on my main cue. I switched shafts on my main cue from basically what I determined was the main shaft of the previous owner to the other cue, the other shaft, which looked to be absolutely brand new. And there is a reason I did it. I didn't just do it for the hell of it. So we have established that my camera does not focus very well up close. So what I think I'm going to try to do is stand back a little bit and then maybe use my video editing software, if I can figure it out, to zoom in, and maybe I can figure something out, or maybe I can't. So in here, this is the shaft that I've been using since I got the Tascarella. And if you look at the edges of the Pilot, as long as I get the focus correctly and all that, and zoom in maybe, you can see that it's a lighter color, and then it's like the lighter color stuff wore off a little bit, and now it's just down to the metal at this end of the Pilot. On the other shaft, this is the shaft I just switched to. You can see that lighter color, which seems to be wood or very close to wood. I have no reason to think it's not wood. Goes all the way to the top of the Pilot. Now I noticed when I first got the cue, I noticed a couple things about the shaft. One thing I noticed was this was clearly the one that had been used, because it had, it was slightly dirty. And this was clearly the one that was either brand new or very close to being brand new, because of the way it is. And I also noticed that this one would get to within like a 1/16 of an inch, screwing it together, and then it would tighten up. And this would get to within a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch, and then it would tighten up. I continued to use this shaft. I guess I reasoned that, the previous owner used this shaft, must have done it for a reason. And when I did my comparisons initially, I didn't see enough of a difference to change. But, for all I know, the previous owner sucked and didn't know how to pick a shaft or whatever. So I just wanted to try. And I found that I like the fact that this has more of the compression fit stuff going on than this. Not a lot more, and it's probably just all in my head. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the one with more compression fit. Now, of course, the other shaft has a slightly newer tip, or slightly less used tip. Still a triangle tip, just a little bit thicker. This is the new one. The other one is worn down a little bit from shaping and such. This one still needs some additional shaping and demushrooming once it gets done mushrooming. But, because I switched to this Talon V10, I'm not wearing down the tips nearly as much as I play. So, yeah, I did make the change, and that got me thinking about the compression joints and all that. And I wanted to see what has compression joints and what doesn't. I discovered here like a week ago that this Joss, what I just call a Joss Sneaky Pete, one of my absolute best hitting cues. All of my Josses are absolutely best hitting cues, but this one has a compression joint. Again, it's probably not going to focus, but whatever it is on the outside of the Pilot of this one is a darker material. It doesn't look like wood. It looks more like some kind of plastic material or something like that. But it's not metal, is what I'm getting at. You might be able to see. Even my eyes from this far away can't focus. There's no way the camera's going to do very good, but you never know. All my other Josses just have a non-compression joint or even a flat face joint. But this one, like I said, it's fantastic, and it happens to have that compression fit. It's not nearly as pronounced as it is on the Tascarella. In other words, I'm just screwing this together, and honestly, I could feel no difference. It didn't get down to like this point, and I got really tighten it up. Honestly, I can feel no difference. So it's possible that that there's not really any of that compression junk happening. Totally fine. Like I said, the Q head's great, so I'm not knocking it. When I was just going through all my Qs, I found that this Joss, this is my N7 Color Money Joss, has the same deal. It's the same deal as the one I just showed you. It's some kind of a black material. It may just be a different wood, I guess. And I don't know how they do that shit. I'm trying to picture how you would do that on a lathe, but not anywhere close to a Q maker. And this shaft, or this Q also, this Q is either the best hitting Q I own or it's second. And I've talked about this before. If this Q is not the best hitting Q I own, then my P-Char over there on the wall is. The P-Char doesn't have a compression joint. So there's more to it than just a compression joint, is what I'm getting at. This one here, yeah, same deal. There's no, yeah, I can't even tell. So there might not be any of that compression junk happening here either. And perfectly fine. I'm not knocking the thing. I want to put this back on my Tascarella. This is the shaft I just switched to. Like I said, I'm just twiddling the other shaft down with my fingers. With this one I get, you probably can't see that difference, but I could probably do it with my fingers, except I hurt my thumb a while back. But no, I'm going like this to tighten it up. Dude, I don't know if I absolutely have to do it that way, but if I don't, it's painful on my thumb. So I already knew that my Tim Scruggs had a similar joint. This is my Tim Scruggs, and this has a similar, it's actually similar to the shaft I had been using on my Tascarella. It looks like a lot of this stuff is just worn off over the years. This one even a little bit more than a Tascarella shaft. And I don't remember feeling any difference with this when I get down close. We're gonna find out. I don't remember. A little bit, not much at all. Just a little bit of difference. I don't know if that means it was, it's performing exactly the way it used to be, or if, like I said, it used to be more of a compression fit and that's worn down over the years. The last one I have, this is my Adam Balabushka Q. Again, one of my absolute top hitting Qs, and definitely has the compression joint on it. I don't know how they do it. On this particular Q, it looks like the wood around the pilot is exactly the same wood as what's on the shaft. And if you can see that, the metal part of the pilot goes inside that. I still don't know how they do it, but it's probably not as complicated as it is in my head. I just don't know how to do that shit. This one here, yeah, it just goes right down. It's like the stuff is there to make it one of the compression joints like the Tascarella, but it's not compressing. It's not, something's either not right or I'm just completely wrong in my entire assessment of all this stuff. My question is, and I'm gonna ask YouTube, and you guys may not know, and that's perfectly fine. I may end up asking people over on AZ Billiards, but frankly, every time I ask a question on AZ Billiards, I get assholes that jump in there and they're just basically just trying to make fun of anybody new that comes along. Little do they know that I'm one of the people that kind of started the whole internet and pool conversations, back around the turn of the century. But I want to find out is if, like for example, this one right here, this is my other Tascarella shaft. This looks worn out. Is there anything I can do about that? Is there anything I can do about that being worn out? For example, just an example, is there anything else that I could coat that outside edge with, that outside edge of that pilot, that would be similar and allow for the compression and such? Is there anything I could use for that? Would it be a matter of just getting this part a little bit damp, like, you know, with a Q-tip or something, let that wood expand out? Would that work? Obviously don't want to ruin the Q or anything, but I'm curious if, I would be very curious if I could do something with this shaft and get it to do that compression stuff exactly like my, what is now my main Tascarilla shaft. And I would be really curious about with some of these other Qs that don't seem to have any of that compression stuff happening, but they look to have all the parts. Is there anything I can do about those? You coat the shit with super glue, right? Honestly, I don't know, and I'm kind of asking, does any of you guys know, have you ever had a situation, you know, with a compression fit joint that isn't really doing the compression stuff anymore? And so I would be very interested in hearing about it and maybe trying it, depending on how insane it sounds. And then I can report on the results if indeed there are any results. And so that's this video. Bye guys.